Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the second video of Saturday. We're going to be going over the Thronebreaker, technically Cavalier. It kind of works as both kind of guide into best champions for the paths and also some boss counters as well. You can check out the link in the description. We'll take you to a spreadsheet, Google Drive spreadsheet, which will feature a lot of what I'm talking about today. So we got the breakdown of the guide in one tab, in another tab, boss breakdown, in another tab, miss and evade counters, in another tab, unstoppable counters, immunities. I do need to change this to the MCOC Avengers one, but yeah, that'll be all done and dusted and in the link in the description if you want to go and check it out. So we kick off with 1.1 and we've got Scientific Exploit and Whittled Down. This is a favorite of mine coming back, which is great, and some of the champions that are best suited for this path, a whole plethora of options. You've got Anti-Venom, Scorpion, Quicksilver, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Ham, Cap with Shehulk with Mr. Fantastic, She-Hulk with Mr. Fantastic, Yellow Jacket, Luke Cage, Void, Mr. Fantastic. Again, like, it's up to you which you use from the science line. There's a ton of science champions to use, but some really effective ones and ones that have recently been added into the game. The boss for this is Sentinel with kinetic transference, power build up, tough as nails, rich get richer, not the me get meer, even though my name is Richard and hence the name RichTheMan is the reason behind the name. So yeah, champions for this one, I would recommend buff building champions, going to be ideal options, but as well Magneto and Ronan are your kind of easy cheese options, but as well, as I've said here, don't look over strong buff building cosmics who armor break, such as Medusa, who also has interaction with robot based champions, and a few other options as well. Keep the champion to an SP1 if you can, but you know, it's an easier boss to go up against as your first one for 1.1. 1.2 is up, and this is a very easy one for mutant-based champions. I would say do avoid with Biohazard hitting into the block because you're going to get hit by a poison. My only criticism about this particular quest is that Kabam have done the AI profile, so they're very sluggish in actually coming out to you, which means it's more frustrating for you to then go at the enemy because you're then like, okay, well, if I bait you out, I'm going to be hitting into the block a few times. Try to avoid that. I've made that mistake too many times and hit by poison. So double immunity champions are always very fun for this. There's any mutant works, by the way. Any mutant works. I've personally found great joy in using the likes of Omega Red. I don't have the 6-star version, 5-star version I do. Magneto, just in case you face up against a hashtag metal on the route. Colossus, Apoc, Old Man Logan, Emma Frost, Magneto, House of X. Any double immunity based mutant champion or bleed immune champion is going to be great. Bleed immune probably easier, but look, any mutant really kind of works for us. You're just going to be very careful on just how you play it. Your boss for 1.2 is going to be Juggernaut. Juggernaut has enhanced SP1, Newton's Law, Pass the Buck, That's Gonna Sting, and Brutal Refresher. There's not a huge amount of things to watch out for. I would say Brutal Refresher, because whenever the defender is knocked down, they gain a non-stack energized passive, increasing their combat power rate. That is something to watch out for. It depends how you want to take on this particular fight. You could go down the route of using power control champions, as maybe a suggestion. For me, I just use Human Torch, more of a kind of like a delayed not focus. I went into start off with the pre-fight Nova Flame, and was kind of like doing more, or sorry, less of knocking down the opponent, more of rotating around SP1s, not the heavy attack method a lot of people would take down the Mystic with. You could go down the route of dealing with the Unstoppable by using slow debuff champions. Yes, it's part of Newton's Law, so basically you'd be intercepting Juggernaut and going like, right, okay, well, I put a slow passive on the enemy, and that's how you may want to play around with this. However, though, I would say if you struggle with your intercepts, is to use champions that would deal with the situation of the slow debuff. I put information about unstoppable counters, mainly with the slow debuff. I don't think, no, you definitely can't with the with things like stagger and stuff like that. So slow debuff might have to apply in this particular situation. Would you use Quicksilver? Possibly. Would you use some other options? Again, possibly. It's just down to how you want to approach this particular situation. And for me personally, I was using Human Torch, but it doesn't take away from certain other ones that punish special attacks as well. That's where certain champions like Spider-Ham, She-Hulk, Mr. Fantastic, and She-Hulk with Mr. Fantastic for that power sting, and also Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket come into play. You've just really got to watch out for some of the other nodes and just kind of play clever with not knocking down the opponent, but also watching out for your intercepts as well when you're playing against this one. Your 2.1 fights are all about using champions that are skill-based. Punishment Glutton, Trial by Fire. I've actually had some really fun times playing with Massacre. Massacre is actually like has been my lane clearer. I don't normally use Massacre for Punishment Glutton, but this time I've thought to myself, let's change it up a little bit. Hit Monkey does work very well. Falcon as well. Black Widow Dead of the Origin gets debuffs very quickly, which helps out with their being shrugged off and getting you the Fury passive. Nick Fury, Gwenpool. The list goes on. I think some recently added champion options are in there as well, but look, you know, there's more to be added into it. I'm sure that there's a ton more that I'm forgetting for it, but yeah, it's you pick who you want. There's tons of skill-based options for this. Your boss is Guillotine 2099. You've got Chum the Waters, Super Buffet, and Stop Hitting Me. Now, it's up to you how you want to take on this particular fight as to suppress the healing. Super Buffet, basically you get buffs on you. It's going to be a bit of a punishment. However, though, there's something that plays a part in this, which is that if you play into the node that is Chum the Waters, whenever the attacker dodges an attack, both champions are inflicted with a heal block debuff. So basically you are suppressing that healing that the champion would get off a Super Buffet. It's up to you what you want to take on this with. Obviously Magneto is the go-to cheese option for this particular interaction, but don't write off champions that are able to heal block as part of their kit. Maybe an Awakened Penny Parker. Haven't tried it, but I hear good things. Null, Hercules. Yes, that might be a bit of a sticky fight if you can't rotate correctly, and yes, if you do suppress off the SP1, the miss, with that true sense, it can lead to a very kind of rough interaction because you'll be playing into the Stop Hitting Me. So you've got to obviously be careful about that and knock down the opponent several times. So it's up to you who you use on this and how you look to suppress what is problematic about this node, whether it's the heal block side of things, the dealing with just smashing down the opponent from ability accuracy reduction with the likes of Magneto and other champions. So you'd pick on how you think this is the best way to take it down. 2.2 now, and this is all about Power Technician. Power Technician is all about utilizing champions that have either power control or have armor up buffs, so then when on a well-timed block they can power control. And there's some really decent options for this. Some really new decently added options. Mega Sentinel, Guillotine 2099. That's not recent, by the way, but it's still an option. Tech Doom, which I do want to get mine ranked up and ready to go. Nimrod, Ultron on the 4th block attack, and there's tons of others. Warlock is my old MVP, but my new MVP is Nimrod, and also Guillotine 2099. Silver Warrior, Hulkbuster, Iron Man Infinity War. The list goes on of available options in order to kind of deal with this particular situation. Ant-Man is your boss for 2.2, and this one's got Special Burst Lockdown, Power Through Sickness, Consistent Combos, Micro Reflect, and No Retreat. Of this, I don't think there's a huge amount of worry apart from concentrating on No Retreat. So basically when you swipe back and swipe again, you'll be hit by a degeneration. The other thing that's relatively important to mention is if you have a debuff on you, the champ gets power. So Ant-Man will get power. And there's nothing really else to kind of concern yourself with, in my personal opinion, and looking at this. There's some really decent cheesy options. Of course, it wouldn't be hashtag Metal Month without having the likes of Magneto be your option for this. But do look to debuff Shruggers, which will play in and part to this one. And those are the likes of Karnak, Valkyrie, Baron Zemo, King Groot, Mole Man, to name but a few. I've seen my good friend Fist use Kingpin with the Hood Synergy. I actually ended up using that, I think, for 2 fights in this particular quest this month. So there's some pretty nice counters if you've got them, but it depends on how you want to take on this particular champion. Keep it to an SP1 if you can. I would say it's just a case of shrugging off those debuff effects, which are going to be really, really key. And yeah, it's up to you how you want to take it on. Keep close to the champ as well, because when you swipe back, if you aggressively swipe back twice, it can be problematic. Focus in on your parries, focus on your well-timed blocks. Yes, the game's in a bit of a scuffy state when it comes to some inputs for various players, but try to make sure that you're at least kind of close or blocked when the champion's coming in, so you're not going swipe and swipe again and getting that degen, because that can be really, really detrimental to your champion's health. 3.1 is Crack in the Armor. Crack in the Armor is all about utilizing champions that are best off they get armor break as quickly as possible on rotation, and there's some really decent options for this particular interaction. Whether or not you got the likes of Terex, whether or not you got the likes of Corvus. Corvus was a lot of fun, especially on the easy path, because you get 4 missions if you play it right. Also, Cosmic Ghost Rider, you've got yourself Cull Obsidian, easy rotations there with heavy attacks. Any champion that heavy attacks and does things off of the, just kind of like hitting off, say, mediums or lights, can be very, very effective. I would say some new additions and also some old additions. So you've got Null. Null's really great for this Cap Marvel movie. Hercules with the Cap Infinity War synergy can be utilized as well, especially if you're looking to time it right. And then you've got loads of others as well. So tons of options there with or without synergies that can be really helpful for this. The boss for 3.1 is Cassie Lang. Cassie Lang is a very easy to evade champion, especially because there's nothing really to overly worry about when it comes to like no projectiles, just like kicks and punches and stuff, and things you can keep plenty of distance from. But what is important is to play into her nodes. Detonation combination is going to be important because of inflicting combo detonation effects. You will have to keep your combos up high or to a certain point in order to make sure that you avoid getting, smashed. Ebb and flow knockdown, so you knock down the opponent, which is important because you will be under a protection. Painful retreat, every 15 seconds the attack is inflicted with a power sting, dealing 40% of attackers defender's attack as direct damage when activated, and you can remove the power sting for every 10 hits on the combo meter. So making sure that you kind of like do your hits as quickly as possible is going to be important. There's tons of options to take on this, whether or not you're going down the route of Magneto, either works. Either Magneto's obviously red is kind of like a lot of it's pretty amazing. Kingpin, Nick Fury, Mole Man, Hercules, Valkyrie, especially to shrug off some of those debuff effects you get on you. And also Agent Venom with Scorpion and Kraven synergy I hear is very good. Also Archangel, I did try it out. Yes, it's not poison immune. Yes, I know. But I wanted to kind of like just check champions that are easy rotations of parry heavies. And it worked fine. It kind of took a load of health off. But to be honest, debuff shruggers may be the way to go with this. Maybe I'd kind of try the likes of King Groot. Yes, it is poison immune. But you still get that good amount of kind of... and it's not energy damage. It's some it's like instant damage type thing. I think it's energy damage. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, you still get those red numbers of damage that are not poison damage. It's just transferred to energy damage. So anything really I think can work with this because it's just an easy fight to kind of take on. I think to be more careful about removing those detonations is going to be the most important thing to do. And the final one, 3.1, is all about your Mystic Champions, Arcane Zeal and Steady Perseverance. There are really cool options, new, old, and stuff like that. Absorbing Man Rintrah, Scholar Witch, with RNG of that one, OG one, sorry, our OG version. Mangog with Stagger, Doctor Doom, heavy attack, Stagger, Sasquatch, heavy attack, Stagger. Really easy kind of like interactional based champions that can do this just with a breeze. And the final champ you go up against is Future Ant-Man. Size matters is on this particular one. Extra large champions attacks cannot be glanced. Extra and large champion special attacks, intercepts, and heavy attacks cannot be glanced. Medium champions, intercepts, and heavy attacks cannot be glanced. There's lots of options to take this on. Magneto is obviously a go-to option if you do want to play it into size matters. And yes, there are other things like nano detonation, combat deja vu, aggression, armor. It's up to you how you want to take this on. I mean, like XL champ wise, King Groot has armor break, high survivability, shrugs debuffs. It's kind of like it's always a great champion to use against certain content. I'll probably do a separate video about King Groot and why I kind of like love him for this one. Other debuff shruggers can work if you find debuffs on you annoying. Kingpin with the Hood synergy, for example. Any kind of debuff shruggers could work. I've seen people use the likes of Nick Fury against this. Loads of different options. Other players have used Null, Hulkling, to name but a few. That XL champions playing into this, and armor breaks do play into it as well. Again, it's a personal preference of who you want to take on against this. And dealing with those that disintegration debuff and that debuff in general. If you've got a debuff on you, you want to shrug it off. Of course you do. You don't want to get the damage from it. So yeah, lots of options for this, and that has been it. As I said, check out the link in the description. We'll take you to the spreadsheet. I thank you very much for watching this video. Sorry for the delay in getting out, but I've been busy with other projects and things. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a lovely weekend. Bye bye for now.